Hi, guys. Craig and Russ, you'll have to come on to the next class in person so you can see Russell's, or in Zoom to see Russell's tash. It's pretty impressive. I wanted to just tell you, it'd be great if you had a block available today. If you don't have a block, you can use like a bag of rice or books or cans from your kitchen, stuff like that. That will help you, but it's really important. Even pillows, but they have to be quite firm because you'll need a few. So a couple of pillows can also help. Also recommend some kind of padding for your back knee because we're working on hip flexors. So today my focus is anatomy. So I'm going to be talking a lot about the muscle groups that we're using and why we're doing things in a certain way. So the hip flexor muscles, the main ones are the psoas, attaches at T12 just under the ribs, comes all the way around here, and it moves your leg. Also the iliacus, which is the top of the iliac crest to the front of the thigh. We have the piriformis, which is the glutes, and the rectus femoris, which is the front of your thigh, which is your quad. So today, for ease, I'm not going to be using those terms because it's quite technical. I'm going to say quads, hamstrings, and glutes because they're all connected to what we call the hip flexors. And they're the muscles that you probably know. So they're the ones that I'll be talking about. If you play number 15, OMS, Bass and Brave, then we'll be on the same playlist. So you can start your music now. Got my mic on, that's good. And we'll start today in a laying down position. Also, could you plug the stereo in for me? And as you're laying down, take a block with you, just so you have it ready for when we get into the next part of the class. If you want to start with your hip openers early, you can bring your feet together and knees apart. You can place your left hand on your chest and your right hand on your belly. As every class at Brave, we'll start with some breath to really allow us to land in the practice and on our mats. If you've been coming to our class this last few weeks, I've been focusing on 2-point breathing, which is to teach us the depth of breathing into the diaphragm. So as we inhale into the chest first, feel the top of the left hand rise, and then continue the inhale into the belly. So feel the right hand rise up as the belly inhales, as it has more space for breath. Exhale first from belly, let it fall. Then exhale from chest, let it fall. Inhale from chest. Inhale from belly. Exhale from belly. Exhale from chest. And now blurring those into each other, so making it nice and smooth, so not too controlled, but inhaling into chest, and then belly, and feeling the gentle rise and fall, closing the eyes. Not perfect, but just really getting into that same way. Inhale chest, inhale belly, belly falls, chest falls. If you had your knees apart, you can place your hands on the outside of the thighs and bring them in together if you're some glute activation. So when we go into deep stretches, we start first. So we're placing that block in between the thighs, so kind of down towards the pelvis, not too towards the knees yet. Feel the backs, and we're just going to squeeze the glutes and squeeze the block and then lift the glutes off a little bit. But you want to shift your tailbone towards the back wall. So you're tilting and squeezing your glutes a lot, pushing into the floor. Now, hands on the floor, palms facing down, and we're just going to do time your glutes to wake up so we don't have lazy glutes throughout this class, because what you'll learn in both directions. So we need to make sure that our hips, so keep pulsing up for one more, then exhale, coming down to the ground. We're going to do the same, but go to the top of our range. So take a breath in, exhale, we come up. So we always exhale into the exertion. Now we're up, we're squeezing the glutes, squeezing the thighs, pushing through the heels, gazes straight up towards the roof to protect the neck. From here we do little pulses up. So it's only small movement, but you'll start to feel the glute. And just continue here for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, or 2, and 1, and then slowly coming down. Now from here, we're going to do one-legged bridge pulse pulses up. So that is way too much for you. You can just continue what we did before. Otherwise, move your brick in between your knees. This is going to allow you to squeeze. So as we come up, you're going to walk the right foot into the center of your body, and then your left foot is going to raise up. So legs straight up. If you've been doing this with me for a while, it's up and down. Watch the knee. If the knee is painful, put the block there to squeeze and just reduce the amount that you're moving the roof. Yes, I just said that. And we'll go for 5, 4. I know you might appreciate that one, Tash. 2 and 1. Slowly coming down. You should have felt those glutes really fire up. Get out any fire in those glutes. Block between the knees. Left foot into the center of the body. Exhale to come up. Straight up. Just at the top of the range. So the activation is a little bit into hamstrings, but mostly into glutes. So pushing the hips up. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And slowly down. You should have really started to feel that fire up. Block beside you. Knees to chest. A little side to side. Rock and roll. So we rock up and back. Then back up again. And when we get to the top, just grab the backs of your knees until we're all here together. Boat pose. Now option 1, shins parallel to the floor, flex the legs. Open chest, we're not hunching. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, smile, it hurts less, 4. So we activate the core before we get into our workout so we can protect our lower back. That's the whole point of bend your right knee, place your block between your knee and your elbow. Make a fist with that hand first, squeeze it towards the neck. Right hand goes behind the back of the head to protect the neck so we don't have any pain. Left arm out, left leg out, inhale. We go more. Inhale, exhale, 9. Halfway, 3, 2, 1 more. And take it to the other side. So if you make a big exhale, forced exhale, it also helps to constrict the core. So left knee up. Push the elbow into knee, into elbow, making a fist first to feel friction. Then placing the left and right leg out. Exhale. We go for 10 more. Inhale to lengthen. 6. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, inhale. Exhale. 3 more. And 1 more. Reach out and reduce. Pipe down until you can come onto your hands and knees for our tabletop. As we're focusing on hip, first we focus on glutes. Coming into your tabletop, we lift our the knee, flex the toes towards the shin. Now try not to tilt into your back, straighten your pelvis. Really, really important. We can get a lot more flexibility into our quad. This needs to be strong to support us to do that. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knee in, then out to the side like a fire hydrant. Try not to drop the knee. This is what you call the another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, bring it in. Hope you felt. So again, are you dumping it into your back? Straighten through the back, so tilt your tailbone. Lift that foot even higher, flex the toe, and then little pulses at the top of that. So you really should take your attention into that left glute and imagine it working. If you're not feeling it there, make sure you're tilting your tailbone and you have your knee high enough so it's in line with your hip and you have that top foot flex. Let's go to another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knee in, don't drop it out to the side. So our fire hydrants, knee and the ankle and hip are all in one line, little pulses to the side. Woo. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring facing dog. This is all done safely. Exhale to fold. Now bend your knees as much as you can just to breathe. Feel that heart beating maybe as you have your little smile maybe because it's Saturday. Inhale, hands up to sky. Exhale to fold. Inhale back. Exhale, hands down. Now option to step or to jump back. You should be warm enough if you want to jump. Now with your plank, we're going to stay back and keep your hips, if they up like a down dog, I want them nice and straight. Squeeze your glutes so the activation should be there. The chest is over the hands, so you're forward and your feet are going back. Now chaturanga, first option, lower the knees, bring the chest forward, tuck the elbows in really tight like a tricep push-up, come to floor. Inhale to upward facing dog or baby cobra as it is our first. Tuck the toes, push up back. Downward facing dog. Walk out the legs here. I like to pedal out my legs. If you're tight in the hamstrings, my pain point and my weakest part is my hand causing me problems. So definitely use your down dog to get into those early. Gaze between the hands, option to step, or if you jump, up dog, we roll the shoulders back and squeeze the glutes. Make sure if there's any pain in your lower back that you squeeze the glutes more. Tuck toes, push back into down dog. A little walk out of the legs, get into those hamstrings. Look forward, bend the knees, step or jump forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep hands. Exhale to fold. Inhale, half. Step or jump back and move through your chaturanga. Option here, one-legged chaturanga if you want. And if you want to, you can stop at 90 degrees and come straight up to just the tops of your feet with your quads floating and glutes engaged. Exhale, down dog. So take your level, twisting the hips forward rather than them opening. If they're tight, they're going to want to do this. Place hands on your hip, ankle, lift the toes on the front foot. This turns on the fibularis and the tibularis anterior, two little muscles that link to your knee for running. So have a little play with activating the toes. Exhale, hands to floor, step back, high to low plank. And this is starting to get also into your hips, into your straight here. If you're open to the side, you won't feel anything in your hip flexors. Lift front toes, come a little, inhale up dog. Exhale, down dog. Your own quads and you roll them outwards. This is what we're looking for. Knees to floor, chaturanga or one-legged chaturanga. Inhale up. Left knee up, inhale. Exhale, step between the hands. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Alignment, front heel to arch alignment. Gaze to front middle finger. Pull it. Normally I tell you to stay in strength here. Today I'd like you to go into flexibility, so go deeper, down or closing the chest. And from here you want to open your chest. You don't want to be curving down or closing the chest. And you also want this left hip to be going up into the back of the hamstring. Bend through the front knee, coming through warrior 2. 1. Inhale, lifting the left leg up. Exhale, sweep between the hands. Inhale up, warrior 1. Exhale, straighten front leg. Right hand comes to the top of the hip, pulls it back, reach forward, tilt down. So rather than staying up like I normally will cue, stay playing with flexibility, grabbing the ankle, come a little deeper, maybe even hand to floor or hand to a tall block. Whatever feels comfortable for you, and you feel that stretch through the hamstring. Keep that hip opening up as you go into that flexibility. Relax neck and head. Gently bend the front knee to relax that hamstring. Hands to the floor. Move through your option of self. You can take your knees on the floor. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, sweep. Straighten front leg. Reach forward and come down. The computer. And hands, reach your fingers around your hips, elbows back, squeeze the booty, squeeze the hip forward, a little bit of back bend, keep chin to chest, exhale, fold forward. So this is getting into your hamstrings. I have my ankles a little further out than my toes, so pigeon-toed a little. Inhale to lengthen through back. So this is getting into both of your hamstrings on both sides. So you can either interlace first two fingers around the toes and pull yourself down. You can grab the edges of your feet and elbows out if you wish. So you can bring your feet closer together to make it more of a challenge. Relax neck and head. Gently place hands underneath the face. Inhale, come up halfway. This is important. Take a big breath in, exhale, hands on the hips. Then bend the knees, slowly coming up. We bend knees to protect the hamstring. Turn both feet around to face the front of the room. Step your back foot halfway up, coming into pyramid. So hips are on train tracks, so you have space. They're not like this, yeah? So hands on your hips. Where our spine goes, our hips should go as well. So the spine should be straight. We grab this, yeah? So hands on your hips. Where our spine goes, our hips should go as well. So the spine should be straight. We grab. Now you should be starting to feel a bite through that hamstring. If it's too intense, you can have a micro bend in the knee, which will allow you to go further into your hip flexors. So have a play with that. Maybe hands come to floor. Maybe inhale through chest and see if you can go a little deeper. So this is a deep hamstring stretch, but it also gets into all of your hip flexors as well. Hands come out to the front of your face. Lift your right leg up. Now this is a standing split, so this is going into the triangle jumps, but today for flexibility, the left hand comes to grab the left ankle and see, but I encourage you to try and go as deep as you can into this, but I encourage you to try and go as deep as you can and grab your, take some breaths. Coming to the top of your neck, the knees rising up, hands to heart center, take a breath. Exhale. Inhale, hands up. Exhale to floor. Step or jump back into your high plank. Move through your flow. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. You ready for the other side? Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, sweep between the hands. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Straighten front leg. Get your hand on your right hip. Pull it back. Reach forward in my chest. The more I'll feel into my hamstring. Relax neck and head. Bend the knee. Coming up. We're not there for too long. Inhale, hand. Both your feet the opposite direction to before. Thumbs into the sacrum. Wrap your... Inhale, halfway up. We're coming into a squat. So coming into the right leg. So feeling through the back of the left leg. Maybe that right heel's on the floor. Maybe not. Maybe it's higher. That's okay. But we want to feel it through the back of the opposite leg. Inhale to center. Exhale. So coming, doesn't matter if you're up here, just make sure that you feel, bend the knees, come up the full way, turn both your feet to face the front of the room, step your back foot in, coming into pyramid pose. So hips, you're going to bring your hands onto your hip bones, so the top of almost the top of the iliac crest, you can feel, grab it and tilt it forward. So your whole back is straight. This twist, this forward fold is coming from the hip. From here, hands might come to the floor or can. And just have a look at your hips. Are they twisting? Can you straighten them up? When you straighten them, you'll feel a more intense stretch through your front hamstring. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. Inhale, one more, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Now the aim here eventually is to get your forehead close to your shin. When you get there, you'll start to feel a stretch through both of your hamstrings, not just the front. A little bend of a knee in the front is okay. If that means you can't fold forward. If you are in the left glute and lifting, engage that left glute and lift. This is all about strength of the glute. How much can that glute strength lift the quads and your hips? Yeah. So if you find this hard, it also means your quads are very tight too. At the right foot, and maybe bring the forehead towards the shin. So for me, the hamstring on my right is very tight. So see how you can go. Always one is worse than the other. Let's stay for 2 more breaths wherever you are. And exhale when you've had enough. Come into ragdoll, grab your elbows, take a breath. A little rock from side to side. Coming to the top of your a big breath in. And then gently rising up to standing. Hands come through heart center. And take a breath here. Placing the hands in the sternum in the center of the chest. Maybe feeling the heart beating after that inversion. Inhale, hands up to sky. And exhale to fold. And move through your flow of choice. So it's fine to bring your knees on the ground. Don't feel you have to take the hardest option. Inhale to up dog. And exhale to down dog. Pedaling out the leg. Inhale, rise up. Hold for a moment. Inhale back up. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Hold for a moment. Inhale to rise. Now I have to get padding because my knees are sensitive when they're on the floor. So I'd really recommend you get a pillow or a towel that has a couple of layers that you've folded and place it under the left knee. So this is where we're going a little bit, if some of you are bored of this. So what we're stretching right now is the quad. It's by squeezing the opposite muscle. So we're going to squeeze the booty. You can even grab the booty a little bit and see if you're squeezing. Then from there, see if you can go a little further. Now you're squeezing your glute. I know I definitely can. Takes a little bit of practice to get used to this sensation. But the more strength you have in your glutes, the more your body will allow you to let go at the front. So squeeze even more and hold. If you feel your back, it means you've gone too far and it's pulling your hips out. So just don't go so far. Hold for 1 more breath. Then exhale, bringing hands to floor, coming into half split. So we're tall blocks. Now check your hips so they're not twisting because mine always twist. So I need to correct that. You can start to fold forward your head towards. I'm not there yet. So I'll fold a little more. My right hamstring I'm really feeling at the moment. So I'm going to honor that and stay at my edge. And head be heavy. Now bend through that knee, coming back into your low lunge. Again, we're going to the front, so the down. Gently coming back up so that your hips are over your back knee, your left knee, coming into aero lunge, which is strength in the right glute. So we're pushing into the top of the foot, the black left foot, and we're just lifting that knee just a few centimeters off. It's easy to come high and not twisting. Hands up for 3, for 2, for 1. Hands to the floor, right side of the mat, lizard pose. So we're coming forward into that front quad hip flexor area. Maybe you can come onto your elbows. So if you have that flexibility, you can come there. The neck and head is heavy. I'm taking some breaths here. So they say that the control muscles are the hip. A little bit of a control freak, you often find the hip flexors are very tight, which I can say because I have tight. If this maybe speaks to you, let your head and neck be heavy here. Gently coming up onto your hands, flying dragon. Those of you who know of the right foot, right hand comes on the inside of the thigh. Little bend in that left elbow to protect the joint and look over the right shoulder. Opening, which is something I definitely need to do. I'm going to take that back right hand and you feel like you've got more. Bring the left elbow onto the floor and come deeper into the stretch. Let the head be heavy now. So just gaze to the floor. Whichever option you're in, you can move a little bit if it's uncomfortable. Find your edge, find what feels good, or at least you feel the stretch. Gently pushing up into the left hand if you took this option. The back foot is let go very gently, so we're not slingshotting the back leg. Walking that right foot over towards the left side, half pigeon. If you have knees that are unhappy, you can actually come into figure 4 on your back, which is like this. That's an option, figure 4. Otherwise, if you're staying in half pigeon, I'd like you to be honest with the stretch. What that means is if you're falling over onto your right side, onto your glutes, and then going all the way to the floor, you're not stretching your piriformis, which is the main muscle we're supposed to be stretching. So I'd like you to even your hips out so you're up. If your right glute is off the floor, place a block or a pillow under it and stay there, and then come into your forward fold. If your shin is not parallel with the front of the mat, then keep it pointed. If it is, you can flex it. This just protects the knee. So we sink back into the hips, make sure that back foot is straight, and you'll definitely feel the glute, or more specifically the piriformis deep in the glute, the hip flexor, starting to scream at you a little bit. And we need this to be open to get into splits. So we need to take this and breathe, letting the head fall wherever feels comfortable, maybe some blocks. And breathing into that space. If this is tough for you, just observe that. Maybe it says a little bit more about you and other aspects of your life as well. Seeing if, coming from that theme of being in control, if there are some muscles around the glute that you can relax. So just actively take your mind there and let go of some of those muscles. And once you actively do that, it's pretty amazing what starts to happen in the hips. It's a lack of fighting. Doesn't mean it doesn't feel intense though. And when you really want to exit this pose, this is when you really need to stay for a couple more breaths. And it's when it starts to really release. Breathe. And just be cognizant of the fact that this is just sensation and it will pass. Gently start to come up onto your hands. Your back leg, you can start to bend it. I actually have to help it around towards the front a little bit. We'll do one forward fold as well. So the right foot goes into the inside of the left leg. Reach up and then exhale, folding forward over that left leg. So this one is a really great way to start to get into the hamstring. A little bend is okay, but we're doing the same as what we did with our pyramid. The bend is not coming from the back. Placing the hands on the hips, and we're tilting from the hip. So the hip flexor stretching, not the spine. So if you're rounding through your back, this is not the sensation we want. Place your hands on your hips, twist your hips forward so you can actually help yourself by grabbing your hips and bringing it down. Chest is on your quad, and then you can start to relax the head towards the shin. This gets through a lot of those hip flexors. Gently coming up. Crossing the legs, coming into downward facing dog and walking it out. I'm just having an observation of how the legs feel. How does the right leg feel towards the left? Does one feel tighter than the other, more sensitive? Does one feel longer or shorter? Inhale, raise the left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, we rise. Exhale to right elbow, hold. Inhale up. Exhale to left elbow, hold. Inhale up. Exhale, sweep between the hands and place the left foot down. Place something soft underneath your back knee. So really stressing here, protect your knees. You only get one set, you do want to wreck them. So coming up here first, place your hands on your quad, go forward into your hips, maybe place your hands on the floor, or you can stay up if you feel okay. Now we're going to activate the glutes. So if it helps you to place your right hand on your glutes to make sure they're active, because often they can be lazy, and squeeze. Feel it activate. Really make sure, when I say squeeze, I don't mean your hand squeezes your glutes. I mean you squeeze your glutes with your muscles. I had someone tell me that it was weird. I told them to squeeze their own butt. And then bring your hips forward from that place of strength in the piriformis and the glutes. So this is going to trick you to let your quad release. Now, if this feels a lot, you can place your hand on the floor and come down forward. If you want to come from more strength, you can stay up. Just see what feels good for you. Everybody's different. You are the boss of your own body. Please don't do anything that feels bad. Stretch is okay, pain is not. Hands onto the floor, and we'll be coming into our half split. So I like to have a little bit more space for this one. So I move my front foot forward and then straighten through the front knee. Check your hips, untwist them if they're twisted. First, we elongate through the chest. What I mean by that is flat back, and then we fold forward. So again, it's not a back bend or a back extension. It's actually through the hip. So we don't want to round through the back. So the chest is open. Bring the chest forward and exhale to fold. See, on this side, I've got a lot more flexibility because my other hamstring is just not happy at the moment, or ever. So just observe that in yourself. Maybe you have a favorite side. For me, it's from carrying my bag on my shoulder and having one shoulder higher than the other. So just observe, ladies, if you have a handbag like that, it's done a world of damage to my back. And gently bringing the chest up, walking up a little bit, bending through that front knee. And from here, we are going to come into lizard lunge. So left foot moves towards the left-hand side, hands in between. So this might be it for you and you're feeling a lot, so stay here. If you want to feel more, you can come onto your elbows. Encouraging you to squeeze that the left knee in towards the body, which will intensify through the left glutes and a part of the hamstring potentially. If you let that knee sink to the side, that's a different stretch. So see if you can suck it in for this lizard. Maybe walking that right foot even further back to deepen through that hip on the right side. This is going to really help us with our splits. Gently coming up onto the hands, coming into the lizard, flying dragon. So coming onto the blade edge of the left foot, left hand comes on the inside of the left thigh, gently opening the hip. Bend into that right elbow a little bit so we're not pushing or doing anything damaging to the shoulder. So we're not stacking joints, we're using our strength. Now from here, if you have the extra flexibility and you want to go there, left hand can reach behind you to grab the back foot on the right side. This is already going to feel quite intense. The more you lean your hips forward, the more intense it will be. The more you pull that foot into the glute, the more intense it will be. If you want even more, coming down onto your elbow on the right side, neck and head relax towards right arm. Keep that left shoulder open. This is getting really deep into the quad, so please know your edge. Don't take it here if you know that this might cause you injury or pain. This is just an option for those who know they can go there. Take one more breath. Exhale without slingshotting the back leg, gently let it down. Coming up onto your hands, moving your right foot, left foot over towards the right. Coming into half pigeon. Taking figure 4 if you have knees that are not very happy. And removing any padding that might be behind the back knee. First, I like to make sure my hips are straight. So I come up. If I'm tilting and falling towards the left, it means I'm not stretching the piriformis. So I want to be straight. I walk my back foot even further back. I feel my piriformis engage already. This is already starting to pull in here, deep in the glutes. Then I start to fold forward to my edge. So maybe you don't go very far. You place a block under your head, maybe your couch, maybe anything that's there, some pillows, or maybe you bring your head the whole way to the floor and just breathe. What I've really learned about the hips is they're actually really linked to your monkey mind. So this is your flight or fight response. So if you're very stressed or have anxiety or have any type of issue with the nervous system, you will have tight hip flexors. So it's something just to observe for yourself. Maybe if you are under a high stress environment, that you will not be as flexible as you normally would. Or maybe that is a check into yourself that you need to manage your stress a little better. Seeing if you can use that trick again to just disengage some of those muscles that are fighting this. We'll take 3 more breaths to get to your edge. So maybe you want to deepen your experience and go a little further. Or maybe you've pushed yourself a little hard and you want to come out a little bit. But please, I encourage you to stay for your last few breaths. And when you've taken your 3 breaths, gently come up. And helping your back leg around with your hands can be quite intense coming out of that pigeon, half pigeon. It's great because now I get to do half pigeon all the time with you guys. Left foot goes into the inside of the right leg, removing any cushioning from under the glute. We're going to do that hip work again. So if you've noticed you're folding forward with your back, let's do it with our hips. That's why I moved my padding out of there. We're going to take your hips, so the top of the iliac crest, which you can start to feel. You're going to use that as a hinge to tilt your hips forward. Once you tilt your hip forward, you'll start to feel your hamstring engage. For me, this side is really tight. So what I do is I bend my knee. This is going to allow my hips to come further forward more, which allows all the back of me to get more of a stretch without overextending and putting too much pressure into my hamstring. Once you're in your full version, maybe you can play with starting to straighten that front leg a little bit and see if you can get a little straighter in that front leg while keeping the hips in the same place. It can feel intense. Gently starting to come up. And crossing the legs, have a little twist of the spine. So placing the right hand on the outside of the left knee, left hand comes behind you, lift up, exhale, twist. Maybe you have a deeper twist where the left hand can grab the top of the right thigh or the pants. Inhale, come back to center. Other side, left hand grabs or touches the top of the right knee. And the right hand comes behind you to elongate through chest. Exhale, twist. Maybe you have a slightly deeper twist where you bring the right hand behind you to grab the thigh. Inhale, lengthen through chest, come back to center, through rolls of the shoulders, and meet me back in downward facing dog. Pedaling out the legs. Our final pose is full splits. If you're like, hell no for the full splits, which you might be, please just come back into half pigeon or a double leg fold forward, which looks like this. Yeah, so you can stay in your forward fold and your pigeons. You can alternate what feels better. If splits is like just not happening for you, I get that for some people, so that's okay. So if we're coming into our splits, you need padding for your back knee handy and 1 or 2 blocks. So you can use rice or your couch or chairs, anything like that at home. Lift your right leg up, inhale. Exhale, sweep between the hands. Left knee comes down onto something soft, because we do put a lot of pressure on that back knee, getting into splits. Now we're coming forward, feeling into the front quad. So this is something that we definitely need to make sure is ready. We've done a lot of work to get us into this spot. Exhale into the work. We're going to go back into the hamstring. So if you're already feeling quite tense in that hamstring, you can have a play with doing a few moving forward and back a couple of times. If you do feel ready that you want to go into your splits now, we're going to hold it a little longer today because we've been playing with this for 2 weeks now. So if you extend that leg forward, there's a couple of options with your blocks. You can bring blocks under your arms and stay up here. You can have them on any level, so you can take them as low as you wish, or hands on the floor. My favorite option to help me release is actually placing the block underneath my glute on that side, because it means I can just relax the rest of me. And there's a couple of other things to check when you're in your splits. Your back foot, have a look. When I started, my back foot was really twisted and my knee was bent. It's taken me a long time, because I'm very tight in the hips, is to make the top of the foot on the floor and to rotate the hip so my quad is straight, going out to the side and opening. So see if you can just, as a first point of call, roll that top hip forward, yeah? And you may need to straighten the hips by moving the glute on that side. So now my hips are pretty even. Now you'll always have a little bit of a twist in the hips coming into splits when you're starting, so don't be too crazy about it, but just being observative of, I can show you, if I twist open like this, I can come all the way down. But this is not the splits. This is like, I don't even know what this is, but it's not the splits. So we want to make sure we're being truthful in our splits. It's not about getting an Instagram pose. It's about trying to get that flexibility. So another option, if you're feeling a little bit more bendy after this work we've done, you can come down a little further. Hands can be forward over the front leg if that feels good, or if you want to push your flexibility, having the hands on your hips will also use a little bit of gravity. Remembering if this is really intense, you can do your moving forward into your runner's lunge and then back into your half splits, and just holding each time for 3 breaths in each direction. Or you can go into a double leg fold forward or half pigeon if you want, if this is like just not happening today. And again, just always checking and seeing if you can twist a little more into those hips. And when I mean twist, I mean straighten. How does it feel? See if you can breathe into that space. If you're very bendy and you're closer to the floor, you want to play even more, you can start with pointing that front foot and then flexing it. That's going to really deepen through that hamstring. I'm not going to do it because this hamstring's not so happy, but I might do it on the other side. To come out of this pose, we've been here for a while. We're going to bend that left knee at the back and then place the hand on the inside of your right knee to bend it for you, because we had a lot of pressure on that front hamstring. We don't want to pull it with the muscle. You can really hurt yourself. And then from here, gently coming over onto your glutes. Oh, bringing that leg in. Oh, and maybe just giving yourself a little gentle rock from side to side. And coming into a downward facing dog to stretch that out. And seeing here, observing any difference. I actually feel way better through that right side now. It's funny because I didn't expect to feel better. Left leg comes forward, step between the hands. Right knee comes down onto something nice and padded. So hip work is not always the most fun, but it is very important that we look after our hips and we stretch them out. So we now runner's lunge, and we exhale, come back into our half splits. So feeling through the hamstring on that left side. So we straighten through the chest. What I mean by that is straight spine, then exhale, folding forward over that leg. Again, you can play with going forward and back here. You know your options, so you've got a couple of minutes to do that. Otherwise, if you want to come into your full splits and feel prepared, which we should be quite warm after everything we've done today, we straighten that left leg out, start on a high option. So don't go into the deepest version straight away. Check your back foot is not twisted. Make sure that quad is facing towards the floor, not out to the side. And then if you feel you could go a little deeper after you're straight, you can take your options. If you have any knee injuries, be very mindful of your back knee. It can put a lot of pressure on the patella. So you want to make sure, number one, it's very padded, and two, you don't take it too far too early. So we're going to sit here and feel into this space. If you can straighten up through the chest, feel free. If it just feels awful, you can bend forward a little bit. I started here for a long time because I was very tight, but I now feel I can come up. I like to place my hands on my hips and see if I can roll that right hip forward. So straighten through the hips as much as I can. This has been a long journey for me. I couldn't even touch my toes 6 years ago. So please be gentle on yourself. Some of you are way more bendy than me already, which is great. So just doesn't matter where you are, it's all about your own body. And breathing into any space here that might be feeling quite intense. Closing the eyes. Seeing if you can squeeze the muscles of the glutes. Squeeze them tight and exhale, release. That's one trick that you can do to help you release. Or if you want to go more intense, you can straighten that front toe and then flex. This is going to go deep into the hamstring. This is only if your hamstring is feeling happy. On this side, it feels fine for me to deepen it in that way. The other side was definitely not. So, taking your last breath. To come out of the pose, look over your right shoulder. I like to bend my back knee first and then place my right hand on the inside of my left knee to bend it, not using my muscles to come out of this, taking it really easy. And then we'll actually just go straight back into a downward facing dog. That feels a lot better. Yeah. Then walking out the thighs, the legs. Bringing the knees in between the hands, coming onto your back. We'll take a supine twist just to root align the spine before our final Savasana, Shavasana pose. Bringing the right knee in towards the chest and out to the side. Interlacing fingers around the shin to bring it in. Exhale over the top of the body and feeling the back. Nice twist. This really helps realign the spine after a lot of fold forwards and back splits. Ultimate stress because you're having your hip flexors pull in opposite directions. Inhale back to center, other side. Bringing your left knee in towards your armpit. Exhale to the other side. Try to keep both your shoulders on the floor. Inhale back to center. And coming into your final resting pose, your Shavasana, your place of rest. You can have any last movements you feel you need. You can stop the music if you wish. I might just stop my music. And from here, coming into your final rest. And just let everything be really, really soft and heavy. Slowly start to deepen your breath. And gently bring yourself back into your body and back into the room. If you wish to stay as you are a little longer, please feel free. Otherwise, gently brushing the thumb over the first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, feeling that sensation. Maybe wiggling the toes and wiggling the fingers. Reaching the hands up overhead, stretching through the spine, right from the tips of fingers to the bottoms of the toes. Exhale, bring knees into chest. Give yourself a big hug. Maybe a gentle rock from side to side. When you're ready, rolling over to your favorite side, keeping knees into chest, using your bottom arm as a pillow. Keeping eyes closed, gently help yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Legs across and hands can rest gently on the knees. Chin tucks gently into chest to straighten through the neck. Bringing hands to the heart center and taking a big breath in for yourself. And an exhale. Thanking yourself for showing up to your practice today, for honoring your body, for really feeling into places that may not feel so comfortable. The hips can bring up a lot of different things for us. Some people, it comes up as frustration and anger. Some people get emotional and sad. So just honoring if any of those came up for you, and if they didn't, that's fine as well. Just be grateful to have the ability to stretch and move those hips and increase the flexibility. Namaste, everyone. I hope you had a lovely class. I really enjoyed teaching you. Happy Saturday, and hope to see you again soon. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Read all your comments. Don't hide the filthy mo. The world needs to see it. Awesome. See you guys.